Good morning, grasshoppers. A few hiccups on the way to streaming this morning, but nothing that can't be overcome. The great unboxing of a Chess Informant 152. I assume that is what it is, obviously. It came in this very discreet box with just a simple phrase, John, on it, which is very nice of them. Spelled properly, of course, because I'm not a Jonathan. It also came in a plastic DHL wrapper, which my daughters unwrapped before they saw my name on it, of course. And since this is the most important thing that is happening today, oh, it's a thing of beauty. A thing of beauty. Chess Informant 152. And they also included the tactics workbook. Hold the phone. Let's put these aside for just one moment. We have Tiger Halot person on the cards today as far as the study stream goes. I don't know which way to look at first. The ever so lovely Chess Informant 152. We're going to have to update our image and our command for 152, obviously. And I had written code for the CD, for the DVD. Very nicely done. As in the past, it hasn't worked. I think Chess Informant 149 I never got actually installed into ChessBase. But the tactics workbook, I'm actually quite anxious to see this. But first things first, Chess Informant 152. The most anticipated mailbox drop of the season for every single chess player. In the back, of course, we have a list of the tournaments that have been covered in this time period. An index of the answers to the endings, the combinations, and the commentators of the games that are enclosed in between, inside. And Chess Informant has improved in ways that one could not imagine. Chess Informant now has the first 1/3 of the book, first 1/3 to 2/5 of articles based on things that happened in the first part of the year. They also have the Chess Informant archives and reminiscences by Ian Rogers. As Ian Rogers in this particular issue goes, has the title of Fear is Not an Option. Blatten-Barany, Platon Barany, 1983. I wonder if that was meant to rhyme. A tournament that took place in Hungary in 1983. Back in 1983, quotes GM Rogers, an open tournament with 12 grandmasters was something special indeed. And for Kathy and I, this was to be our first trip behind the Iron Curtain. And it's hard to believe that in 1983, behind the Iron Curtain included Budapest. 1983, behind the Iron Curtain. I can't wrap my head around that. For most of you, the Iron Curtain was the wall of communism that separated the Soviet Union and the Soviet-influenced communist-based countries from the West. So the Iron Curtain was drawn through Berlin in those days, East and West Berlin. And it seems like ages ago, as the wall fell approximately around 1988 or 89, 1991. Oh my God, I can't even wrap my head around the date. I'm gonna have to Google this. Nimzovich's Legacy by Michael Pruskin, Grandmaster. The Immobile Doubled Pawns. Nimzovich's legacy. Sabina Poissar, we have commented on her stream on liking her articles, as she always writes really, really well. Her article this issue is about the Pillsbury attack, which is the concept of outposting a knight on e5 and playing f4, f5 in the Queen's Gambit decline. But this can happen in many pawn structures. It can happen in the Caro-Kann. It can happen in many ways. It can happen in a lot of things. Uh-oh, is our music cutting out? Brr. We may have to give up on the music tentatively. The Scandinavian is covered by GM Nigel Davies. It looks like it's part 2. Daniel Gormali. I'm trying to remember his Twitch name. Devilry in Daventry, as he covers a small market town tournament in Daventry, England. Mark Hebden and Danny Gormali finished first. My good friend Mark Hebden. Absolutely love Mark. Absolutely hysterical guy. AC, otherwise known as Keith Arkell, Grandmaster Keith Arkell, ended up 5th in this event. But Devilry and Daventry, Alshon Morabiati, I'm butchering that name, comments on the FIDE Grand Prix in Berlin, won by Wesley So. He annotates all of the games. Laporte wins the Belgrade Grand Prix. I believe that was how he ensured his way into the candidates. What else do we have going for us? Raphael Attal, who has an excellent book on the Najdorf, by the way, in Chessable. Raphael Attal, in his column Bossa Nova, comments on the American Continental Championship. Christopher Yu, 8.5 out of 10. The tournament was won by Timur Gareev with 9.5 out of 11. In San Salvador. All right. Meanwhile, we have a game to play. Why is my board so small? Whoa. Well, the good news here is that because it's a Swiss, we are not completely as hard-pressed for time. How am I going to define myself here? Against Steba this time, we're going to play a Sicilian. And as he played Bishop C4 against us the last time, I'm not going to waste time with Bishop to with D6. I'm just not going to waste time. After all, he may actually wish to give away his e-pawn. Wow. Should I just remove his e-pawn? I feel like that's the order of the day. No, he might still wish to give away the e-pawn. Nope, he's not giving away the e-pawn. Fine. But now that we are crossed and covered, so far the 9 magic moves are serving him well. Let's just see what we can do to bust his way of life here. What can we do to bother him? Looks as though he has a bit of a weakness on F3. We can put pressure to. We are going to gain time on this one. Sending his queen packing. Tagging the unprotected piece on F4. And at the same time, we're going to threaten to weaken his pawn structure. Que pasa? This looks like it should be a free piece
Check.
on the d5 square. We have to finish the opening before our opponent in the safest possible, controlled, and well-planned manner. I seem to be getting into trouble here. But we can force the exchange of queens. First things first. Let's see what we can get on our opponent as we activate all of our pieces.
Check. Check. Check.
All right, next up.
Check.
Interesting. We are just activating, folks. Just activating. All right, I can't take it.
Check.
Oh no! Did I do this to myself? I got way too fancy. We're gonna have to work for a living. Indeed, we're gonna have to work for a living. Mm-hmm. Yes. Let's cross and cover. Can't believe I hung my queen when I had the opportunity. To close this particular game out. Anyway, this is what it's all about for Steba. Let's see if he has a safe square. The endgame is still winning. Carelessness. There's no place for carelessness in chess. But that's what makes it exciting. The resourcefulness. Alright, well, we'll give him a little bit of a checkup. Do I want us to... eliminate any counterplay? I'm a little worried here. Bishop takes a3. Queen takes a7 is a bit of a fork. Oh, fine.
Check.
Mm-hmm.
You lose.
Can't move fast enough. Can't move fast enough. Never deserved that one. Has he beaten me twice like that? I have to figure this one out. I think he has.
Ready.
Maybe I have beaten myself like that. China Goat, good morning. Welcome to the stream. I have not seen you before. I'm happy that you're here.
Check.
Not sure why the queen is in front of that bishop. China Goat. We're trying to get our pieces out as quickly as possible. I'm positive that you're going to find the right move. Developing pieces. Do I really wish to do this? I don't know if I want it. I don't want to exchange pieces just yet. Black is cramped. Now can we overwork him? That is the question. D6, knight takes d6, bishop g5, f6. Well, it would help to have our king castled no matter what. You can't really play bishop to g7 because this move is now protected very, very well. There's more material where this came from. Interesting. So we can ensure that he doesn't castle by playing bishop. Yeah, let's make sure he doesn't castle. Our knight on b5 is not that well placed. Double attack.
Check.
This is a straightforward motion. Very straightforward motion. It's not made on the next move, but it is made after queen e8, bishop f8, bishop h6. I don't think he has an answer to this. Or she. China Goat. Cheers. Welcome to the dojo. Ball 184, good morning. Steinitz played it against Tarash. Well, I remember there was a novelty. Sorry, as I move this over so I can pull the chat box in. 1 second. Now we're in business. Now I can pull this out. I have my chat box on my screen, partially hidden. That way I couldn't see where bishop takes a3 was good too, then rook f5 and draw. Arch-a. Oh, you're absolutely right, Arch-a. It is transparent intentionally. And if you're on a mobile device, I will switch it back to the blue for you. Going with the ICC. IC. I believe we're in day 5 in the WSOP main event. I'm not sure that we're going to start watching today, but we actually may start watching on stream for the final event, and we might actually try to do some commentary. World Series of Poker, main event, commentary. We haven't done yet a plug for our YouTube channel. In order to get rid of the gobbledygook at the end of our collective dojo, the YouTube channel needs 100 subscribers, and we are right now at 76, and I really do appreciate every last one of you. 24 more subscribers, and we're going to test our ability to change our name. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you can. We are about the daily assessment and assimilation of skills. So besides Chess Informant 152, what a beautiful image. I actually almost bought shades with this cubic design on it. The only thing that deferred me was the cost of the shades and the blinds. And I think the name of the place was Beyond Shades. And now we have the latest edition. We have received in the past the Archangel's Lopez, the Tactics Workbook, and it begins with simple, moderate, advanced, difficult, and expert level. I can't imagine what expert level is beyond. And I have a feeling that we are going to be working on these on stream. Brandon Jacobson versus Anton Korobov. Oops. Anton Korobov, of course, wins. We are going to be working on our analysis on stream. I also ordered the book by R.B. Ramesh on how to improve your calculation. It should be arriving tomorrow. I've heard amazing things about this particular book. So for the Tactics Workbook, 500 carefully selected puzzles on 5 levels of difficulty, 42 instructional prize-winning studies included, with detailed solutions. Now the purpose of this exercise is to write down your answers and to improve your analysis and your critical thinking skills as far as your assessment of variations at the end of each line of analysis. So the tricky part is that it's the blind leading the blind if you just guess and go. Guessing and going is not how you do it. So chapter 12 are studies. The most interesting and instructive studies composed in 2021. So are all of these tactics? Oh my God. Are every last one of these tactics from 2021? Is basically this going to be an annual tactics workbook that we can do? Hold on here, I'm just checking the dates on every one of the examples. It does appear so. But these tactics are all freshly minted from 2021. OMG, this is making my heart beat faster. With their permission, I would like to do a workbook to prepare beginners for this workbook. Oh my god, I'm so excited, because I also specialize in presenting tactics to beginning players and intermediate level players in order to get to the expert level. So for example, I'm positive that the simple solutions that they give, the one-star simple solutions, are not one-star simple solutions. I'm very curious about Chapter 1. The book you're holding in your hands is a logical continuation of our efforts to provide the most topical, meaning the latest, and instructive material for self-study and for preparation. Last year we published 2 extremely successful manuals, Puzzle Quest and Endgame Maze. Those also offered current material. For example, the 2020 Puzzle Quest. But I actually like the idea of the tactics workbook.
Time is running out.
The Chapter 1, I'm not entirely sure. Are these arranged chronologically? There are only 500, so they should easily be able to be accomplished. All right, we did Ulf Anderson yesterday, so we're going to mimic Ulf Anderson as white. Wow, this is interesting. We have a number of discoveries happening here, by the way. That was not it. I think we're just going to win a piece here. I could be wrong. We're winning a piece on this particular position. I was planning on knight h4, unveiling an attack on the c6 pawn. We are destroying. Where can the queen go? And what does it all mean as we fork his entire world? I'm afraid that this disaster, which is striking our opponent directly in the heart, we are, after all, protected. I don't even know what to capture next. We're up a piece, right? Are we up a piece? So if we take the rook, we're up a rook. Wow, Ulf Anderson is on to something. Thank you, Pegasus. You are the man for suggesting it. Although I have to admit, I've used those games in lessons before. I felt like they were not quite as fresh as the first time. Yes, subscribing to a YouTube channel costs nothing. We really appreciate all of your support. YouTube. I believe I'm also going to... I just want to remind everyone that we're having a drive to support abortion funds this month. In addition to my donating profits from the stream to abortion funds. Abortion funds, by the way, at abortion funds on Twitter, allocates funds across the country to all of the agencies in terms of need. So depending on agencies that do or do not have adequate funding, abortion access to anyone who needs it, anyone who is in danger of needing it, we are going to hopefully help out. And on July 17th, we also need to do a fundraiser because that is National Abortion Access Awareness Day. I believe that many streamers should be doing their best on July 17th for American access to abortion possibilities. This is pro-life choice, by the way. Pro-life means that you get to choose to live your life without your tax dollars going to recover to support unwanted children or to unfortunately, as I've seen it, many neighborhoods are wrecked with poverty because of poor choices made by people. And those people aren't going to be forced to make better choices just because you take away their choices in contraception or anything like that. They're just not. I know it's a controversial subject, but I'm firmly on the right of the living to go on making good choices. And those good choices include not burdening our healthcare system and our child welfare services program with unwanted children, which is what happens actually if you force people to give birth when A, they're financially not possibly ready to, B, not physically or emotionally stable or willing to. There are people that are on substances and other things that are being taken advantage of. This is a fact that you cannot escape, that there are people out there that are being taken advantage of because of drugs, because of situations, financial situations, where their lives are not their own. So this month, Abortion Awareness Month, Abortion Access Awareness Month, at Abortion Funds on Twitter, we are going to do our best, what little we can do. I am hoping, Pegasus, by the way, I know that brief public service announcement was perhaps a bit too long, but I am hoping to get to Tiger Hill Art Person today or my games before I whisk myself off. To Team Day, Team Society Billiards 9-ball day. I should actually charge my Hero 8 right now before I forget, because I would like to access the stream. The GoPro, by the way, has a built-in stabilizer as far as the Steadicam, and I realize that's what I'm missing. when I was watching the videos of my IRL stream in Philadelphia for the World Open, what I was missing was a Steadicam. This was a draw. Why was this a draw? Were we not able, Nico, to place our knight on g3? So basically, we place our knight on g3. No matter which direction our opponent's king moves in, we're going to invade on either g5 or e5. We're going to scarf the weak pawn, return, and promote our pawn, all the while stopping our opponent from promoting. Well, let's do this in practice for the most part. Oh, we can't do it. We have another round to play. We'll look at that instructive ending again with the extra piece and the time. The 3xk, knight f3. All right, well, we are going to answer in Ulf Anderson mode. Full Ulf Anderson mode. Don't do it. Don't even think about it. Actually, there is a good move here for white. What? No. Yes, we're going to double fianchetto. Because we can. And because the kingside white squared bishop will be sorely missed by our opponent. Scale at Speed by Felix Velarde. Sabrina Chivanez. Now, how are we going to go about this?
One specific frequency.
Do we wish to worry about this? Do we want to create a hole for ourselves? Is this that important or necessary? Let's just grab the center while we can. Pinpoint those weaknesses on those squares. We have been here before, by the way, in the Ulf Anderson mode. We are going to be pursuing more and more positions in the style of Ulf. Now, is this really where we want to be? It only looks temporarily annoying, to be honest. Mm-hmm. How annoying can this position be based on the games of our study of Ulfi Anderson? Yeah, Batista. I would love to see 77 subscribers for this stream. If you have a YouTube subscription to give, now is the time to give it. Why is my opponent not moving? Is my screen not refreshing? Let's reload. What is happening here? I'm not being threatened, right? Oh, why? First things first. Am I losing material on this? Do I attack his queen first? I think I do. There will be a time.
Victory.
Yeah, that was awkward. 3XK. Working hard on his game. I think, though, this was a much better opening for you, by the way. Very, very consistent. If you were not with us for our Ulf Anderson, Ulf Beats Black is a really great book. I don't know if I could ascribe a certain tactical, certain opening style to Ulf. There will be a time. It's George Thoreau's 205th birthday. Hold on here. We need to know if we're going to add him. To our chess players database. We already know that we have to add Elon Musk to our chess calendar, as he was on the A team for chess in his high school class. Walk in Thoreau's footsteps. Henry David Thoreau was an American naturalist. It's not what you look at that matters, it's what you see. What a great quote. It's not what you look at that matters, but it is what you see. So let's get over here to Mohan Best versus Vladimir Luria. How are we doing in growing the dojo? Just how are we doing? My son helped. Yeah, you did not.
Check.
Yeah, but what you need to do is go over complete games. You need to know where you're going, not where you've been. 3XK. Max M, how are you?
Check. Check.
I currently have a position where I played a blunder, but for the life of me don't know why it's a blunder. That's fascinating. You played a blunder, but you don't know why it's a blunder. Now, it depends on the engine that's determining this blunder for you. Honestly, I see things that the chess.com engine, and less frequently,
Ready.
the Lee Chess game analysis feature, when the engine analysis posts it, that I don't understand. It's true that one move may or may not be, but what you can do is check it, because when the blunder was attributed, all right, Ron, Mr. Ulf Anderson himself. I've got your Ulf Anderson right here. Right here, buddy. I got your Ulfie right here. Mm-hmm. Okay, are you really going to do that to me? I have to be very, very leery of what this fellow is up to. I realize that in my memorable games, which Ron has forced me to look at, I have actually played these positions pretty well in the past. Quite crazy that I've played these positions well in the past, because I find myself at a loss for how to place my pieces, but in general, piece coordination comes naturally to the stronger player when you have played over countless numbers of master games. As Reese Poole yesterday was pointing out, yeah, we're going to look at it, Max M. I would love to see this position that you are there's no excuse for not castling. And we will sneak up on what? The C5 pawn? Possibly. What is happening here? We're going to try to cripple his pawns. Because we can. At the cost of our white squared bishop, we may cripple his pawns. Other squares might also be achieved, now that I look at it. In the case of total transparency. Where are you headed, sir? Looks like an amazing lot of I don't know where I want to be mode. I do have a weak pawn on d3. However, when my knight asserts itself, this will not be a problem. First things first, we're going after the dark squared bishop on that side, because we need to weaken our opponent's position.
Check.
Now, what is the best way to go about this? Where is that knight going? You gods, folks. It just seems like black's pieces are tripping over themselves in various ways. Well, isn't that fascinating? He is stopping me from playing what I thought I was going to play. Knight takes c5, knight takes c5, bishop takes c5. Knight takes c5, rook takes c5, queen takes c5. It does look like we have a problem. We do have a problem, Houston. Alright, do we have enough? The b7 pawn is hanging. What does it all mean? Knight takes c5, knight takes c5, bishop takes c5. Is he really planning on playing rook to c8? That is the question. Rook to c8, bishop to d5. Alright, let's find out what we can do to support our pawn. After all, we are attacking him just the right number of times. I'm gonna have to take first with the rook. Based on my calculations. So rook takes knight. Basically, we have two minor pieces to two minor pieces. It looks as though we've come out on top of this situation.
Time is running out.
Let's bother his rook.
Check.
Well, that was close. I almost touch moved that one.
Check.
Bummer.
Check. 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 Check.
What happened there? Did I throw away a piece? Was I up a piece? Was I winning that? I felt like I was winning that. I literally...
Check. Check. Check.
Oh! I did not lose a piece. I returned the favor for Ron, though. From some time ago. I appreciate it, Ron. Good game. Yeah, I returned the favor. I thought I was down a piece. Bishop to b7, in my mind, lost a piece. And I thought I was down a piece, so therefore I said to myself, let's just draw this game, because I hung my piece, and you didn't take it. So in my mind, I was only hoping to draw that game. Not unlike how you let me get away with because I touch moved or blundered a piece for the most part. So we have the tactics workbook. And I don't believe that I should publish this publicly. If I were to do a study on this particular book, I'm not going to publish it publicly. We could work on it on stream. But honestly, because it's copyrighted material, whatever they choose to work on, we will work on the analysis and whatnot. However, I would like to do the best game of the preceding volume from Chess Informant 152. Hikaru Nakamura, Andrei Esipenko. And then they have the most important theoretical novelty, which to me is always important. They don't have the important theoretical novelties like they used to. They used to list all 10 of them to a great extent. Congratulations to Ron Hay on a fine tournament. Incrementally, what did I start the day with? Literally, I lost rating points, right? So I started as a 2158 today, and I lost 10 rating points by not moving quickly in the first game. We also wanted to look at Max M's question. Max M, are you still here? Which game? Which blunder? Although it helps to put it in the Discord, it also helps to follow our YouTube channel for extra attention. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, please. $77. Let's get to 78. If you've not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel. All right, so Max, on Lichess, message me the game. Oh, I was just speaking to someone yesterday that someone violated the Lichess terms of service and I got 2 rating points back. Who that was, I do not know. The Fen you can paste into the chat. And then I'll put it on in a study. We'll go to viewer studies. I could scroll back, yes. I have to look to see whom I gained or lost 2 rating points to. It happened within the last few days, obviously. Or maybe they were caught elsewhere and they refunded all of the points. So I might have to go back quite a while. Yeah, I have to literally scroll back to look. They don't actually tell me who's. But like I said, the reason I told TC Burke, the reason I like to play rated games only is because all rated games, especially all of my rated games, are analyzed by the engine. FEN. Awaiting Max M's FEN. We're going to talk about it. We're going to assess this position if we can. But 3XK, how are you? What is the question, 3XK? What are we looking at here? Wow, an updated coup chart by Asha Rangappa. Asha Rangappa is a former FBI special agent lawyer and Tiger mom, as she points out. She's a legal and national security analyst and an editor at Just Security, which is a forum on law, civil rights, and security. Where's our FEN from Max? Hold on, let me just take a quick put. No worries. I had points refunded to me by when I looked. I couldn't figure out where my opponent cheated. But it doesn't have to be with you, Paul. If they cheat with anyone, you get the points back. This is the really great thing about Lee Chess. Everyone in the tournament is getting their points back. If they cheat once, if they are caught using an engine, or if they are, for whatever reason, violating the Lee Chess terms of service, everyone gets their points back. It has nothing to do with So here we have the FEN provided by Maximum. Played E4 in this position. Well, first off, I'm not entirely sure that I don't know how we term it as a blunder. It's certainly a terrible move. A terrible move on 3 counts. I'm not positive that you can move your D pawn forward. You're fixing the pawn in front of your bishop. If the computer is willing to actually assess you this way, this pawn becomes horrendously weak and a permanent weakness if you can't push it forward, right? Let's just say you play E4 and we just retreat our bishop. Now we have to deal with this problem, right? And this problem is going to be compounded with knight to B4, and we need to be able to push it. We could even occupy the center square if needed, but I don't know if that's necessary. Well, let's just imagine that you try to follow up on your idea here. And we keep locking down on this square. So this is a permanent weakness. It's a strategic weakness. There's a great thing, by the way, Max Moan. What is that bad? Well, you are strategically lost. In other words, if you lose a piece, you know that you're lost. And if you give your opponent a permanent weakness, I repeat, a permanent weakness which they can attack over and over again, it is the same as losing. There are a lot of strategic losses. For example, one other strategic loss, hold on. I'm going to put it right here. I achieved this position against Grandmaster Roman Chidjijashvili, right? I'm going to go with this one. And he pointed out that black is strategically lost here. Bishop takes, pawn takes, and with this pawn sitting here on this square, white is just winning this game. It's probably +2. Well, the stockfish is much more generous. Much more generous because it's so early in the game. But Gingerjashvili basically thought that white is very strategically winning in this position because of this pawn. Now imagine that your game, right? Your game, you've inflicted yourself with this but literally you're pawn down in this position, that's all. As we have the engine analysis running, right? You're not clearly lost in this position, but strategically you're worse. There's an addition, unfortunately, that shows the opponent's strongest move. Then you have to think out your move yourself, but I think it's cheating too. Yeah, I doubt that they cheated against you, Paul. It's possible that they may or may not have used an engine, but they used an engine against somebody and you got the benefit back. In other words, if anyone cheats anywhere, everyone else gets their points back. Just because the account is closed and all ratings are refunded. They've erased the person from existence. I'm not the only person that got it back. So I would have to ask Nico Devonius, basically, if he got his points back. So in any event, so here, having the engine on for the most part, yeah, A3, queen to C2, knight to C4. Any move is probably better for you than inflicting yourself with a permanent weakness on D3. So basically you have a strategic weakness. And this is a clear weakness that you cannot easily repair. They say bishop f7, obviously. Maybe they want to put the bishop on f5. And then white's best move is queen to b1 or queen to e2. What happens on this? Knight takes c4, d takes c4, and you're down a bishop. Wow. They just let white get rid of his weakness. You just have a terrible bishop. Can you imagine? It is weighing that heavily against the bishop and this permanent square weakness. The rook to f to d1 on f to d8. So yesterday, Max, we went through the games of Ulf Anderson, and he took the most microscopic advantages, and he blasted his opponents. You also have a terrible bishop on g2, basically, because of the nature of your pawn structure. It's very difficult for you to get the bishop back into the game. So the bishop on g2 has become a tall pawn as well. Outpost square. Very difficult position for white. Piece coordination is really what it's all about. So if you don't put, so let's just take one of my games earlier when I was developing my pieces. I basically chose knight on b to d2 to keep this diagonal free for the bishop. And in Capablanca's game with Richard Reti actually played knight to c3. He ruined Capablanca's 8-year winning streak with the inaccurate move knight to c3, and he mentioned that knight on b to d2 was more accurate because he wouldn't be blocking or obstructing his bishop. It's not just that your d-pawn is weak, it's also that your g2 bishop has now been shut out of the game. Imagine if we go back to a more beginner mental state, right? If white played d3, now black is better, just because of the move d3. Move 2, d3, black is better. Now, it doesn't mean that we can't move this pawn forward in this particular position because we have assistance, but we've impaired our white square bishop in this mode. Even if we had the plan of putting the bishop on this square, we've impaired the yeah, it's just you basically took your own piece out of the game by playing e4. So now if we flip this board, and there's a common mistake made by young players all the time, let's just say in the modern dragon. I'm going to go with the modern dragon. Bishop e3. Let's just say bishop g7, bishop e2, castles, castles. Now, for example, watch the scale of this chart go when we play e5. Poof. We're down 2 pawns just because we played the move e5. And the real reasoning here, as I've told many students, you cannot play e5 unless you plan on or are able to mobilize both pawns pushing forward in the center. And if you can mobilize and push forward both pawns in the center, you're in business. But you can never ever actually play e5 unless you can mobilize both pawns. Let's take a line from the O'Kelly variation, right? e5 in this particular position, note the right? And now we can mobilize both pawns. I think we're supposed to take on c3 first.
check,
And then we play d5. But we can also just castle. But black is just clearly better here because of the pawn weaknesses. I know it says only 0.1, but honestly this position is incredibly easier for black to play. Max. Rogan Joe Sloan, man, myth, legend, Kiwi extraordinaire. I cannot wait to go to New Zealand. God, I just want to book my ticket tomorrow. Screw the credit cards, full airplane speed ahead. Tell me where I'm coming, RJ. Tell me where I'm coming. You can put up with me for a couple days. I will buy the beer. Actually, maybe I don't want to buy the beer. No, yeah, this is a very important and distinct positional difference, right? You have your bishop on g7, e5, -2. However, e5 in this position with the bishop coming out on this diagonal, black is better. Yeah, when prices are not insane. Let's hope that the war in Ukraine rights the ship. So, by the way, Max, Bobby Fischer, in this particular position after a6, played d4, and this is the only time, I throw this disclaimer out there, the only time Bobby Fischer ever played the Smith-Morra Gambit is because he realized that if he takes, that black gets knight f6 and e5, and there's no knight to b5. So as a result of the O'Kelly variation, Bobby Fischer accidentally played d4, and then it was forced to try to make lemonade out of lemons. Also, beer is an investment too, indeed. All right, are we at 77 subscribers? Can we get to 78? Pretty please. I'll tell you what, if we get to 78, I'm coming right back with a study stream in 15 minutes. An 8:15 study stream. If we get to 78 before this stream ends, I'm going to come back 15 minutes after. I need to take care of the facilities, a few other things. I'm very lucky that I got shaved today. Oh, wow. Well, anything can be overcome. I actually love New Zealand beer prices. You don't think they'll let me bring beer on the plane, do you? Could be a job for duty free. But I don't know if beer is your choice of drink, Rogan. But yeah, Bobby Fischer's, and they say it's just better for black to take the pawn. Let's take a look at, and they approve Karpov's choice, by the way. Karpov's choice of, and this is Alex Lenderman, by the way, 97. Now here, I believe Alex Lenderman played e5 against me. But this position is just equal all of a sudden. We're going to have to let this run for a while. Alex Lenderman definitely did this to me. And of course, these assessments are all relative. I'd say it's a bomb on a flight. Duty-free is not always so tax-free. I feel like they raised the prices, Pegasus. Yeatenheimers, namaste. I don't have a reward for hand hearts. I really don't have a reward for hand hearts. I'm kind of lacking in that area. Alright, well I promised that I was going to do the game of the previous volume, which is Nakamura Esipenko. Nakamura's white. We're going to do this one. We're going to label this one was Max M. Q&A on positional weaknesses. Weakening. How about that? Wait, was that the one? Yeah, that was the one. Okay, good. Now we're on to this one, which is going to be Hikaru Nakamura versus Esipenko. INF 152. Best game of preceding volume. And we're looking at this from White's perspective real quick. Oh, it's such a beautiful thing. And when I come back, I will have an image of this. Speaking of which, we have a reverse Sicilian. This is how I learned this open. 4 knights, a la Karpov and Korchnoi. Karpov and Kasparov also battled it out in these variations. But finally, we have a reverse dragon. Wow, I remember seeing this game. This was from the Berlin candidates in 2022. I think this was from the Berlin candidates of 2022. Bishop c5 is not thought to be the best. I mean, this is so loose. There's a very dangerous discovery on that square, which can be met by bishop takes f2, so knight takes e5. While it does look like it works, there's absolutely nothing wrong with knight takes e5. He has knight takes c3 in reply, so it's best that we castle. They consider this position wholly equal. Previously in this position, according to the Informant in 149, the most recent game was d3 from Informant 149. Let's make this the main line. Did we make it to 78? I'm doing a study if we make it to 78. If we don't make it to 78, we'll do it tomorrow. If we make it to 78 subscribers, I'm coming right back for 2.5 hours of Tiger or my games. That can double as a club. We are looking for 78 YouTube subscribers. I'm going to come right back with... We reach 78 before the stream ends. I'm going to come right back with a 2-hour plus overdue. I owe Pegasus anyway, but I need to do it tomorrow instead of today. So yeah, D3 was the game of the previous volume, was the move of the previous volume. And if we open the opening book, we can see that D3 is by far more popular, but this is like getting blood from a stone. Hikaru Nakamura, though, plays Queen to C2, which is a veiled threat to the bishop on C5. Now it's clear to us now, with thanks to the Stockfish here, that the immediate counterattack with knight to d4 is probably best. Crazy, but I have a hard time believing this. My first instinct is to unveil an attack on the d5 knight. So here are where the complications ensue. Knight takes d4, knight to b4. And now black grabs space. Is that craziness or what? That is craziness. So this is insane, right? The complications of this particular move are insane for this move to be played. Queen to c2. And they consider in this position h6 to be the best move. Interestingly enough, after queen to c2, Chess Informant considers that it's possible after queen to c2 that h6. Oh, I take it back. Knight f6 was played. A3, which is another novelty. D3 transposes back into known positions. We can find all of this in the game database down here. Oh, the chess database is not up to date. In fact, it doesn't even have this particular game in it. It's so not up to date. So castles, castles. I don't see this happening. This game is not in there. This volume is so up to date. This game is not in the database just yet. It's insane. Insane. Thank you for following. Tanzil Tariq. The Veiled Threat. Let's just take a quick peek. The best game of the preceding volume. Informant 152. We just unboxed it. By the way, thank you for being here, Tanzil. And we also have received from Chess Informant the Tactics Workbook, our official sponsor of the stream. They are so good. By the way, if you are not subscribed to Chess Informant, please start getting your textbooks now for your regular study from them. I don't necessarily just mean as Pegasus and I are picking apart the ECOB which cycles around. So where are we? Meanwhile, back at the ranch. So he simply just bows out of it with knight f6. Isn't that crazy? Benzil, where are you from? We are... Oh, absolutely. But I mean, we're not in that mode right now. I'll take that mode off when the time comes. But what I can guarantee you, though, Tenzil, is that in the Daily Dojo, every single day I play viewers. We're wrapping up our stream with a game from Hikaru Nakamura. On the weekdays, you can get notifications from the Master Chess Dojo team. You can join the Discord. You can join the Discord. You can also follow the socials, and I will be on every single day to play against you within the scope of either events, simuls, and things like that. I'm not doing a simul today because it's Tenzil 123. Please be my friend. I'm out of follows, actually. I'm limited to 500, apparently. And I'm already following all of my students, so I have to figure out how to unfollow people. And I'm not going to do that just yet. Basically, all of my students, Tenzil Tariq, believe it or not, there is a limit to the amount of people that you can follow. I get a little message at the top that says you cannot follow any more people. So I actually had to unfollow people, and I can only apologize about that if you are one of those people that I unfollowed. But I had to unfollow people, so I unfollowed, Lorsi and Chiquitas and a lot of people in order to be able to take care of my own students from school. I do chess for a living every single day. But please join the dojo so that you can get it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And of course, check out Chess Informant with 152 having arrived just today. This is the last bit of business that we're looking at today. But knight f6, what a wimpy move. No wonder he loses. Honestly. I noticed that this trend is in A.K. Nemsko's games, and I can't remember who it was, James Canty against Levy. He would flinch. He basically, it's a game of chicken. Chess is a game of chicken. You are throwing ideas at your opponent. You can't back up in the middle of a knife fight. You basically have to stand your ground and try your best. You have to have it. You can only retreat or relocate as part of a strategy. And I see people all the time flinching in their games. So after a3, now black has the courage to play knight to d4. And after knight takes d4, e takes d4. So basically, I'm not entirely sure that a3 was such a useful move. But we go for the counterattack. This reminds me of an Alekhine Oiva game from a Nemzowendian that they played quite some time ago. In fact, I'll give you the name of that game right now. It was an absolutely stunning game that they played in The Hague, 1937. Basically, the bishop on c5 is being harassed by a pawn on b4, and black answers in that particular game with d4, counterattacking the knight and the pawn on e3, getting rid of his isolated pawn in that particular instance. So this position just harkened back to me with the game between Alekhine and Oiva. So meanwhile, b4, bishop to b6, again, retreating without a plan is basically the story here. They consider this move dubious. I'm not using the engine. I should turn off the opening book because we're out of it. But basically, this would be a better move to relocate the bishop to a better, more productive diagonal. I think this bishop is going to be sandwiched back here, or picked off by a knight, for example. Now, Hikaru Nakamura is not the one doing the analysis. Elshan, Grandmaster Elshan Moradia Body is doing the commentary, possibly from his previous article. Where is... Yeah, Chiquitas doesn't stream anymore, but Laura does. I don't know if Laura's using the... Is Lorcy? Laura is the only one, I think, that streams on a relative basis. And thank you, Paul, though, for pointing that out. Tenzil Tariq, did you join the dojo? That is the question that I have. All right, I apologize, everyone, as we check over to make sure that Tenzil Tariq joined the dojo. Recent members, you're not here. You're not going to get any notifications of any tournaments. You could also join the Rapid and Classical for the weekend. You're also not here. So you might either follow or join the dojo for the morning events. I understand that you're a young player and you are wishing to play strong players, but one game is not going to do it. I also have a reward request up for matches, by the way. We have a reward request for playing. In fact, I think almost all the streamers have reward requests for even playing a single game. Yeah, so Laura Unak is using... I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And I have to message, she has actually responded to messages, so it's pretty cool. But Lara and Taya haven't been on stream since the tractor stream last year. All three are on the Olympiad team. That's awesome. Yeah, you have to actually schedule the time. You must schedule the time for streaming. If you don't schedule it, life gets in the way. And this is a valuable part of our life now. I'm not giving up anytime soon. I value all of your subscriptions, all of your support. So Knight A4 and white is certainly slightly better. I have to admit that I agree with this assessment that white is slightly better, regardless of what the engine says. Let's take a look. Yep, anywhere up to greater than a half, I assume that it is actually better for white. But you can tell that it's better for white just because that bishop is sandwiched off to the side of the board. So black gets a rook to e8. Knight takes b6, may or may not be hasty. I don't know that we had to play it right away. But certainly if we're going to allow a capture. So they do consider d takes e3 as better for white. White does have the bishop pair. In the game, the move d3 is played. And the editorial comment, not Elsham's comment, is that after d takes e3, f takes e3. D takes e3 also gives white the initiative. Arrow up. After b5, bishop to b2, c6. e4. And after bishop to e6, rook on a to d1. You can see that white's pieces are just plain better. This bishop has one very good outpost. It's possible that the knight might be able to reach that outpost as well. But let's see how this pans out. And we'll check the assessment at the end. All right? Rook on a to d1, queen e7, f4. So this is the initiative. And a clear advantage for white. Is this true? What do we think, everyone? Now that over-the-board chess is back, and life in general, yeah, not to mention the fact that we're actually studying. I'm a little worried about AK and Emsco not going to the Olympiad because she can't get a request for a visa in, you know? She's going to have to express it through an agent. I hired an agent. We got a refund on the agent because the agent didn't do their job. The agent did not get the visa. We literally ran to the Indian embassy in the 50s, first in the 40s. Spent the entire day in the Indian visa office, and then they told us literally the day of our flight to drive to the visa office, to the Indian consulate. We waited outside, we knocked on the door, and they were closed, but there were two of us. One other person needed their visa. The Indian visa people came out and handed us our visa in order to travel to India, and my daughter was on the flight 2.5 hours later on an 8:30 p.m. flight, and she had gotten her visa at like 6 o'clock. It was crazy. She's now sleeping in the other room. Amazing at times getting her to India for the amount of money that we spent. I'm going to talk to her about it later. I'm going to actually have her write a memo on her experiences. All right. So space advantage, ongoing to e5, restricted movement on the black part. Black has a bishop that is a little bit, has no targets to a certain extent. White has control of the d file, possibly an outpost square. And they say clear advantage for white. Well, we're going to have to let it sit for just a moment. I don't necessarily know that this is such a clear advantage. This is certainly better for white. Clear advantage to me would be if we were over the 1 point mark. So I'm only going to give that a slight advantage. And therefore his decision was warranted. Basically, he was analyzing on f takes e3 and on b5 bishop to b2. The main line of the analysis runs bishop to b2, rook a6, try to bring the rook across, and rook on a to c1. And herein lies the tail with a clear advantage. Are we really threatening to capture, or are we not? Is this really that much of a weakness, or is it not? Well, we didn't want to cut it that close either, but we noticed that the visa hadn't arrived, and I thought it had arrived. This is the problem with more than one person receiving the mail in the house. The postal mail, basically, and having the visa mailed to you. But basically, we had to get our visa back from the agent because he was the one that was trying, I'm sorry, our passport back from the agent. And then in order to rush ourselves through, we literally got it the day of the flight, the visa. Very sad. All right, moment of truth. Is it a clear advantage? To me, we have 3 pawn islands. Not a big fan of this position as much as the last one. I'll take the last one, the slight advantage that we had in the previous position over this particular position any day, because as Max Emmett and we discussed before, the pawn weaknesses are irreparable. All right, moment of truth. Could be closer to a clear advantage, but I agree that this is not a clear advantage. This is better for white. Yeah. I could see black screwing up, playing knight to d5 or something, losing a pawn. At least white doesn't have double pawns. Exactly. So in this particular position, Esipenko chose to move d3, which I have to describe being a little bit of a question mark move, unfortunately, because I can see the engine analysis. I didn't want to see the engine analysis. Basically, either he takes e3 was somewhat forced. White had some difficult decisions on their hand. This pawn is artificially isolated and weak, and it gives white an insta plan in order to deal with it because we have stuff happening. Knight e4, queen c4, bishop f5 to try to anchor the knight. Bishop to b2. We can already see that white's position is better. And now, to take advantage of the weaknesses on the king side, Nakamura chooses to remove the defenders of the pawn on d3. Is extremely patient and trying to go for this particular mate because black will probably play what we expect him to play, rook to e7, bolstering this. We might have been threatening b5, winning a pawn. Not as clear, actually, whether we were winning a pawn, because after b5, bishop d5, queen takes c7, queen takes b5. Why you hanging out on a rooftop by yourself? And with the queen over there, we could actually retreat, but is this pawn falling? Maybe. Maybe that's the problem. We'll look at that one again in a moment. So was white really threatening to play b5, bishop takes b5, queen takes c7, rook on the 7th rank, or do we go, were we threatening b5, bishop d5, queen takes c7, queen takes b5, tagging the bishop? And after queen to c3, looks pretty weakening for the opponent. Why didn't black play knight takes d2? Let's take a quick peek at that. Knight takes d2 runs into the immediate fork, threatening mate, and the knight on d2. By the way, in my chessable course, this is a very important forking idea to threaten a knight and checkmate at the same time. I'm definitely adding this particular position to that one, to my course. Queen forks. Now that's a huge one, I have to admit. Where's my FEN? I'm going to grab that one. I'm putting that one in the... I'll get it again later. Queen fork from the viewer studies. I always try to add real positions. And there's no saving this particular knight after queen to c3. The threat of mate is brutal. But that's important to ask. Good question. Good students ask good questions. So rook to c7. Sorry, rook to e7. Did we make it to 78 subscribers on YouTube to drag me back? Not yet. 78 subscribers on YouTube by the end of the stream. And I'm doing another 2.5 hours today. Otherwise, I'm going to billiards for Team Tuesday. Tuesday is team day at Society Billiards. May or may not do a live stream from there, but I might do a moment. I might take a moment. So rook to e7. Now we can see that there's a different problem in the works. This pawn is defended, so now we might be able to lift up and bring the other rook across in order to attack c7. Black chooses to solve all of the problems with the f7 square with a very weakening and committal pawn move. White responds in kind with rook to c4 and rook on f to c1, as we talked about. I admit I have seen this game before. It is not my first rodeo. And after queen to e6, b5 obtains the 7th rank. Not just because c7 is attacked, but also because there is a very dangerous rook to e4, rook takes e7, followed by rook takes c7. And that is indeed what happens. Bishop takes, and I believe it or not, I'm just looking at it now. I remember this game. That was the surprising move. It wasn't just getting through to the 7th rank. It was the simplification involved in reaching the 7th rank permanently. Black, of course, tries to hold his ground. Again, notice that black is not flinching by running away. And white... Well, king f7, queen f5. With further weaknesses being attacked. Also, the bishop on b5 is being attacked. Hey there! We've got a squishy tushy coming in. Where's my Oreo? It's in your mouth?
Yeah.
Oh.
Nice. It's wet.
This is my grandson, Anakin.
It's wet.
How old are you, Anakin?
It's wet. Nice.
Last night, yeah. How old are you, buddy? You're 3? Then you want to sit up there and say hi to the chat? Anakin. Can you say subscribe on YouTube? Can you ask them to subscribe on YouTube? Say subscribe on YouTube.
Subscribe and poke.
You like YouTube?
Hello.
Do you watch YouTube? Yeah? Alright, our stream is temporarily interrupted by a bum.
I'm trying to get that.
Yeah, you're coming to get what? My chessboard?
Yeah.
Yeah? Aww. Alright. Maybe we'll go for a walk in a little bit. I told someone on Twitter that I was gonna head out and go for a walk. I'll let you explore a little bit as he opens my door and exits the dojo. He can't hear anything, chat. Unfortunately, it's all up here. People are trying to sleep, but thank you, Pegasus, for the 100 bits. Namaste. The jump scare. I'm just glad that I think everybody heard it. I'm going to cross my fingers that everybody heard that. I heard it. I don't know if you heard it. I'm going to check the sound alerts right now and make sure that you heard it. There it is. Yes. That was a cranked up jump scare. 2 for the price of 1. Tenzil, I'm going to refund your stretch from a little while ago, by the way. I appreciate your stretch. The stretch is going to be when I go out for a walk, and we might even take a walk with his car now. Computer's on. Thank you for lurking, Pegasus. I appreciate it, buddy. Pegasus, by the way, is one of the legends of the stream. Legends. Rockstar support. I need to give them their own shout-outs, to be honest. Absolutely need to give them their own shout-outs. So yeah, there's a weakness on b5, h7, so king f7 is out of the question. And therefore, we need to block with the rook. And white to move in this particular position. White to move. Candidates for white. Oh, my shift key. Candidates for white in this particular position. Let's just make sure that the move number is correct. The position is correct. This is the only drawback to just dropping in on it later on in the stream. I'm going for a Celsius Live Fit sponsorship. Where did everybody go? Eric Keto, good morning. Sacramento, in the house. Sweden is working on the car with the sun. Uh-oh, make sure I don't burn my coffee cup. Last sip of coffee. Turn off the warmer, which is actually named Lasker. So yesterday, Eric Keto, we got a 3-hour study stream in on Ulfi Anderson, which I think actually watching the VODs, watching the VODs is actually better because you get to fast forward through and get the quizzes as you see fit and the answers to the quizzes as you see fit, and you get to quiz yourself as you see fit. So this particular instance, rook to d8, basically if king f7, then queen f5 tags too many weaknesses. Therefore, rook to d8 was played. And we're going over informant number 152 in the house. I have to do my commands and everything. I do not have a CD drive on this computer, interestingly enough. So even though they sent me the DVD or the compact disc, the CVH files and everything, I have to go through a few hurdles in order to get the informant into my main file of all informants, because I bought the Paramount database as well. You can buy the Paramount, which is all the informants in one shot in data-driven format from Shahovsky.com. They've been at this. They assisted Bobby Fischer in becoming world champion, and every world champion since. If Nepomniachtchi does not use Chess Informant, as Magnus Carlsen has, he's at a serious disadvantage. All right, no answers. Do I need to put the timer on? What's up with that? Find it. Ah, the timer is behind. Or is it? All right, and we're off. 2-minute timer. Candidate moves for white. Obviously, we could trade rooks. We could return the rook to c7. White queen to c7. We could support the rook with queen to f5, queen to g4. We could play queen to b8. You have these candidate moves and more to choose from. Queen to b4. Fascinating move. Absolutely fascinating move. Good shot, Arakido. Queen to b9. I'm bad at typing. Queen to b8, indeed. Rook to d. Rook takes d8. Queen to b8. Queen to f5. Queen to b4 by Arakido. So far, we have not found Hikaru Nakamura's move, which actually, I have to admit, when this game was played and I was watching it almost live, I have to admit it was a reason. Queen to b4 wins a piece if you're not miscalculating. That's fascinating. Knowing that you have queen to b4. Okay. Knowing that you have queen to b4, possibly you can play another move. Let's just put it that way. Knowing that you have queen to b4, possibly you can play another move. So the timer is up. And Hikaru Nakamura hits him with bishop takes f6. Blowing Esipenko's socks clean off. Like Dirty Harry. Blowing Esipenko's socks clean off. But I have to admit that queen to b4 does look like it's winning a piece to me too. What is going on here, folks? What in the world is going on here? Let's come to grips with this. No, queen to b4 isn't check. But bishop takes f6 was a remarkable move that I think we still have. Oh, of course. That's correct. I did analyze this at the time.
Check.
And we have bishops of opposite colors, and no one would be unhappy with this position with either color, despite the double pawns. So, bishop takes f6, and now black has a very serious choice between queen takes f6. And after queen takes f6, we are winning material, because the rook falls after immediately. So g takes f6 is somewhat forced. Queen to g4 check. And of course we also have queen to h5 check if the king goes to f7. Magnus Carlsen bases his style upon Rafael Nadal's tennis play. Relentless pressure and somehow never getting tired in long games. The latest tweet by Chess Tech News. If you're not following Chess Tech News, that is a truly great quote. I had previously admired Andre Agassi. Humor under duress. Andre Agassi. Okay, Google. How do you spell Andre Agassi? How do you spell Andre Agassi? You have one G. So meanwhile, back at the ranch, we have another quiz coming up, ladies and gentlemen. Basically, after bishop takes f6, queen to g4, king to f8, almost an only move. And by the way, on king h8, the moment of truth here, we do win a piece. Or we do get our piece back. That is what I was referring to for Aikido before. By the way, that was my latest tweet on Twitter. If you follow me on the social media, I was commenting on Chess Tech News' quote that Magnus Carlsen bases his play on the style of Rafael Nadal, the amazing formerly world #1 tennis player. Djokovic, of course, is #1 in the world now. Dominating. I could be wrong with Djokovic is the world #1 right now. Did we get 78 YouTube subscribers? I'm asking for it here because I'm going to really run into some problems. We have not yet gotten the YouTube subscribers that we need. 78, baby, 78. I'm hoping to make them by the middle of the month. I'm hoping to make 100 by the 15th, if at all possible. We're going to have to work our butt off tomorrow and the day after. Meanwhile, so this wins a piece because there is no queen f8. Previously, Aikido had pointed out that it looked like queen to b4 won a piece, but the queen gets to retreat to f8 and the material is equal. So Hikaru, still hooked on that tweet, throws in the move bishop takes f6, which deserves at least a couple of exclams. A brilliant move, stealing a pawn. Knowing that queen to g4 check, king f7, queen h5 check is going to win material. Getting back the piece. And on king h8, queen to b4 wins material. Move this up so that I can give the exclam there. And therefore, the only move that black has is king to f8. Rook takes d8, queen takes d8. Queen to b4 check, picking off the king and the bishop. Another position, by the way, for our basic tactics. But black does manage to recover the a3 pawn. Candidate moves for white. Candidates for white, by the way. Candidate moves for white. Run. Ron is always messaging me. White to move. Candidate moves for white. I know that 2 minutes is never enough, especially when we get down to the last 1 minute mark. Where's my water? There it is. Arikido, ball. The only way we get better is by trying to find the good moves, trying to speak the language, trying to coordinate and improve our fluency. I mean, look at all those weaknesses in Black's position. Black has 4 pawn islands. This is what I was discussing with Clarify 14 yesterday and others in the stream. 4 pawn islands for Black, and White has 1 pawn island of 5. Queen takes b7, queen to d7, queen to f5. Yes, Arikido. King f2. Bingo. Queen f2 is the move. I'm sorry, king f2 is the move that Hikaru Nakamura plays. King f2, Black attempts to try to batten down the hatches with his passed pawns and get his passed pawn, his outside passed pawn, moving. But in this particular position, we're going to tag the pawn on f6, the queen on c5. And while he tries to hold these down, we're able to bring our king across and unify our coordinated movements up the board. King a2, king g7 to tag it, queen to d4. Does this really stymie the forward movement of the pawn? Yes. On a movement like queen to b, pawn to b4, we can play queen to b6, and it's going to be very difficult to move that pawn forward. So therefore, after queen to d4, queen f7 prepares queen to c4 check with a winning endgame, or with an attempted winning endgame. Certainly a better endgame. Let's take a quick peek at this. Queen to c5, b6. That's craziness. Queen takes b5, queen to e6. White is just plain winning in this position strategically because of these isolated pawns and this pawn structure. White is basically up a rook in this position, according to... And of course we have to avoid queen c1, queen takes d2. Very good, Arikido. Yeatenheimers, sorry. Very good, Yeatenheimers. Jeff, with the consideration. So queen to f7, queen c5. Black does not try the move b6 because he knows that he's in trouble on all counts. Weakening the king. Wait. Hold on, hold the phone here. Move number 40. I missed a move here. I missed an in-between move. Basically, on move number 39, it was queen to g4, king h8, queen to b4, queen e8. And after queen to d6, king to g7, queen to f7, queen to c5, queen to e8, and we reach this position after g4, king to g7. Make that the main line. The game concluded with h4, queen to d7, h5, and of course after king to g8, h6 weakens the entirety of his king side, and Black resigned. So the Informant 152 best game of 151 is Nakamura Esipenko, Berlin, 2021, 2022. Find out one more thing before we go anywhere. Sassy Water is not playing chess. Alexandra Chess we've rated before. Photo Chess is a good friend. She's not at her table. The Chess Bay may be by default our strongest competitor after all. Even though she's sold out to a great extent. She sold out to the contract. All right, let's run our ending credits very quickly. And I want to let everyone know that I thank them for being here. I want to give credit to our mods. Chess Kudo, Logan Joe Sloan, Pentenzeel Tariq for the follow. Cheers everyone, and please be certain to subscribe on YouTube. Get us to 78. This is our last ditch effort to get to 78. And I am free. Cheers everyone. Ciao and thank you.